you today. I'm excited because I get to chat with my sister, my friend, an amazing fierce advocate of the Bronx, Angela Torres. We're going to have an uplifting conversation in the next few minutes. But I want you to do us a favor and share this message out. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, share it out, comment below, let us know you're here, spread the love. We are raising awareness of breast cancer. This is a vital, important topic that we want to make sure people are well informed of. And so we're excited to bring this conversation with you, real talks, authentic conversations, so that you are empowered and that you can live healthy lives. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. While we're waiting for others to tune in, share this message on your page. I am sharing it as well on my page for those that follow me on Shaniqua Moore, which is my personal page on Facebook. I'll be sharing this to my professional Shaniqua E. Moore page. I know sometimes it's confusing. And then those that are on LinkedIn, you should be able to see this pop up on my main page on Shaniqua E. Moore. Those that are watching on YouTube, you'll be watching under iRay's website, iRay's page. All right, let's get started. Right, Angela, we are so happy to have you today. You are such an amazing, phenomenal woman that I truly look up to. I consider you my sister. And, we have just heart to heart conversations. I believe that our being put together a few years ago was not by accident, but it was really by design. I think God connected us. You're almost like my spirit sister, my spirit twin sister. So I'm so happy to have you on with us today, Angela. I wanted to formally introduce you for those that do not know Angela Torres. Oh my goodness, you're going to get to know her after this. She is a fearless advocate, not just for parents, but for communities. She's a community leader. She's a wife, a mother of three children. I just learned that two of her kids are in college. So that is super, super amazing. Within the parent space, Angela fights for families and children through her several education hats and has been featured on several media outlets, including serving as News 12 Educational Ambassador. She is also the chair of the Youth and Education Committee for Community Board 10, and she serves on the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council. She's also the President's Council president for District 8, which covers 36 schools in the Bronx, and the PTA president for Urban Institute of Mathematics. So as you can see, Angela has her hands tied with the multiple education hats that she is wearing. Within the community, she's so passionate about lifting up Bronxites and helping to meet their needs. And so that fueled her to establish the Throgs Neck Community Alliance, which is a food pantry started in the height of the pandemic to meet food insecurity needs. As the executive director, Angela guides the pantry to engage in public and private partnerships and to provide services to the community with a smile and with dignity. And that she does. Following her diagnosis with breast cancer in early March of this year, she has not allowed this to keep her down. She certainly has not. But she has emerged as a staunch supporter of breast cancer awareness and shares her story of hope wherever she goes. Most recently, she shared her story on WPIX, News 12, Snaps Media, and the American Cancer Society Making Strides Breast Cancer Walk. She had surgery recently, completed her last round of chemo. Congratulations. And will be undergoing radiation soon, but she continues to emerge and speak a message of hope and strength through difficult circumstances. Everybody, she need no more introduction. Angela Torres, welcome, 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 and thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here and to share a story and hope that others will also see a bit of themselves in my story, or for those maybe in their lives who maybe are going through this journey.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that once we jump into this in just a few seconds, it's going to resonate. So many points and words of wisdom and just wisdom nuggets is really going to resonate with so many women and men that are watching. And if it does, as you're watching, we want to hear that. So put it in the comment section. I wanted to start off with some statistics. Black women, excuse me, actually have an 8% lower incident rate than white women of being diagnosed with breast cancer. So Black women have an 8% lower incidence rate. However, they have a 12% higher mortality rate. And this is now getting into the realm of health disparities. In addition to that, Black women have a higher rate. They're at 41% higher rate for breast cancer despite lower incidence rates. So this is 41% higher rate of being diagnosed, 12% higher mortality rates in Black women. And so we're seeing also that cancer is one of the leading causes of death in Black females. And so it's important that we're having this conversation and we're raising awareness. And some of the things that we'll get into is that cancer is not just a physical thing. And Angela will explain it. It is spiritual, it is mental, it is emotional, it's social, it's all of those things in one. Angela, you've been a fierce advocate in the community for many years. As read in your bio, you're recently diagnosed with cancer. Can you tell us what was that like for you? What was it like when you first got the news, and and what was it like for you, but also for your family?
I would say that initially it was just completely devastating. I think we work off of whatever we've experienced, right? Family members are, maybe aunts, grandmothers, uncles, so on. And so something that was more like a death sentence. And so I had to put everything in perspective, but I believe it was very natural and normal to go through, confusion. Why is this happening to me? Just mourning the loss of normality, right? I had to go on and I remember at first, even telling my boy that, oh, well, I'm gonna balance. I'm still gonna do work. Like I'll have surgery and then I'll work and all of this. But it wasn't like that because I was diagnosed in March, early March. I had surgery in April, and initially they found one tumor, estrogen positive tumor, which normally would be treated with radiation and then for premenopausal women. But then when they did my surgery, other tumors that were not found before, and those two were what they call triple negative, which is found in the highest rates among communities, and it's the more aggressive form of breast cancer. So, and that was another thing that I had to mourn because I initially thought that I would be radiation, and then I was told no, we sent these tumors for testing, and now you have to do chemotherapy as well. Experienced friends, who had done chemotherapy, and I saw, difficult it was upon the body, and so I had to mourn that as well. I'm gonna have to go through a really, really difficult journey, and and I thought about it, and I really had that support system of my family, the pantry, people in the community, and that gave me a renewed strength. All of a sudden, I realized that as traumatic as this was, and as I couldn't stay there, I needed to go into a place of and educating myself and advocating for myself, even for all my questions were answered, and that gave me such peace. And as and prayer was also something that really just gave me, and that's what has kept me going. And so I really see that, even though it's socially, emotionally, physically taxing. Just finished my last chemotherapy session, and I'm going to be starting radiation. But this is just this is not my full story. That's another thing. It's not, my story's not over yet. There's so much more to do, so much more to go, and letting this define me. But yet, this is a position of strength where I can speak about something that I've walked through, because I've walked through it, and so they know I truly understand.
That's so incredible. I'm getting goosebumps listening to your story. And just, you said this is not the end, right? There's so much more that you're doing, even more so as you were going through your chemotherapy. I remember seeing the great work that you were doing in the community, running the food pantry, remaining that fierce advocate in the community, elevating your voice, elevating the message through larger platforms. And certainly this was not the beginning. As shown in as read in her bio earlier, Angela has been an advocate and a leader in the Bronx community for many, many years. And so if you can speak to what that was like for you as a leader, so someone that is known in the community as one of the local leaders that many people know and look up to, what was it like for you? Was it another set of pair eyes? Was it more support for you? What was that experience like?
Was definitely, it was a support. I definitely had a lot of support systems. I remember people actually from my food pantry and my church setting up a meal train, recognize needed help, and that's a whole other thing, right? Humbling yourself to accept help. Lesson that I learned through this, because I've always
Mm,
been the type of person that gives to the communities, and so to have to realize that now is your time to sit back a moment, and
mhm,
that's okay, to heal, to give for yourself, um, and give yourself, and to have people have to wait on you, because I mean, chemotherapy was, surgery, I thought that was rough, but chemotherapy definitely took the cake, and probably took two cakes. It was it was definitely intense, and there were moments I couldn't leave my bed. You have all
mhm.
kinds of physical things that happen to you, and you, right, and that's not something that I'm used to. I mean, I consider myself a young person, to realize that you have these physical limitations. You have to depend upon others, but a guy on, this is not going to define me, and I'm not going to let this keep me down. So I think that has been good. Now, on the other hand, it's challenge into your world, and let them know the challenges you have, something that's so deep and so personal journey. People mean well, but sometimes, that are not helpful. For example, they may say something like, they'll tell you a story about someone, and then you're like, oh, how did that, how and how's that person? And it's like, oh no, they tell you another story about someone else who died, and and so you're like, oh my god, like, I think that people mean well, or they'll say things that are, cliche. Like, I remember one time I was sitting on my front porch, well, but I forced myself to, like, sit outside, get a breath of fresh air, and who walked by and who was like, well, how are you doing? I was like, well, I'm not feeling well, because I want to be authentic in my journey, right? Being real.
Right.
You want me to, things were wonderful, but that's not where I was. I said, I'm not really. And she says, oh, well, God will never give you anything that you can't handle. And even though I think her way of, like, appeasing me and saying, "Oh, everything's going to be okay." I remember and I don't think she was expecting that, but I said, I appreciate that. I said, but that he would give me a little less, because I mean, this is not exactly what I
Yeah.
said. And she was like, like kind of surprised. She had that look of
Mhm.
surprise. I think she meant well, but people have to be very careful who's been diagnosed, because even reactions when people find out, if the person, crying and, saying things, like, "Oh my God," or things like that, that's really not helpful, because now we're already in an emotional that you've put that into our minds as
Right.
if it wasn't there. It's more painful. It actually adds to the scarring.
Mm. It's so much you said, there's so much wisdom to extract from what you said, Angela. You talked about people's reactions and how that can really impact the emotional and mental health of people that are going through their journey to recovery. And you may not realize that your reaction is harming someone. I'm wondering, and you gave a few examples of those, but just so that we could understand and we could sort of decode all of these sayings that people tend to throw out there when they don't know what to say, and it's actually harmful more than it is helpful. Can you speak to some of those examples of what not to say, and then maybe a better way, a better approach? What would it look like to better support someone that is diagnosed with cancer, and that is on their journey to recovery? So, what are the things that we don't say? What are some examples of that, and what's the better way?
Okay. Don't say, "Gosh, I'm so glad that I'm not you." I would- because
Hmm.
that actually traumatizes you even further. You think, "See, I
That's
kind
right.
of I wasn't me going through this
Hmm.
either," you know. Um, so, and you definitely don't want to say, um, "This is not the time to," like people who went through chemo, radiation, and so on. That dramatic um, effects, right?
Hmm.
Because especially when you don't know it's chemo, someone is looking for peace. Like, "Oh, you went through. Oh, it was terrible. Hair. They this, that, and the other thing. They, and that's it. And then they died. Like something like that.
Hmm.
You want to be able to bring positive. And the thing is also, when you're listening to these things, if you are going through this journey, not everyone's experience is going to be yours necessarily. Like for me, for example, I lose my hair. I mean, I lost hair, but I didn't lose all of my hair.
Right.
Is something that that does happen with a lot of people that go through chemo for whatever reason. Allowed me to keep, the majority of my hair. I lost my eyebrows and my eyelash. Not my hair, and so you know you have to remember that that journey, that's not necessarily going to be the exact symptoms and for you. And so I would say, you have to be, and the check for me is is what I'm about to say going to, or is it going to put them into a place of more sad, because this is trauma. When you hear these words, "I have cancer," we're going to be real. You want to make sure that you do things that, and here's another thing that I really want to emphasize. Have to, when we start talking about family history, which sometimes, and I'll tell you, even in my family, not something that was ever talked about. It was
Mm.
something that was kind of quiet. I didn't even
Mhm.
realize any family history that I had until I directly asked when I, was diagnosed. But
Mhm.
before that, I had in some families it's a don't ask, don't tell type of policy. But when
Mhm.
we tell, we have to tell it again, sensitive with sensitivity, right? You
Right.
again, like where you're gonna make the person feel like this is it, and not only that, the medicines we have, even the clinical trials that you have. If you ask about clinical trials, now they have other things other than chemo and radiation. But if you don't ask, you won't know. And so there's so much that really goes. So, be a support. You want to be a support to the person. See if they need help with, cleaning up their house or having a meal. Just giving a phone call or a text of encouragement. I had one person who sent me a text today. You want that. Do all of that, but the person feel horrible or feel like they've somehow caused it upon themselves. Then you have people who also will give you things like, well, was it something that you ate? Was it this?
Mhm.
Was that? If someone makes you go down the road where you think like, gee, did I give myself cancer? Like did I myself? And then there's guilt and all these feelings that emerge. So to that, and don't provide that as food for someone else.
Mm. That was a moment to really think about and just process all that you said, Angela. Just the pointers, the wisdom of what to say to someone, maybe a family member, a neighbor, a colleague, or someone that you know that might be dealing with or that might be diagnosed with breast cancer. How do you support them? And what I'm hearing is a lot of the support is emotional, a lot of the
Mm.
support is spiritual. It is knowing the right thing to say to lift that person up and to empower that person, and to give that person hope, not to use or to tell stories that are dooming, that may have happened in other people's situation, because that is not the totality of everyone's case. There are many, many more people that are surviving like you, Angela, and that are doing so with so much power and grace. And so I think it's important that that we understand that, and that when we're even empathizing, we're empathizing from the right place. And that was really powerful. So thank you so much for sharing that. I know we also talked about the internalization of someone that is diagnosed with breast cancer, not necessarily feeling safe enough to talk about what they're dealing with, or to even come out and to tell their family members. They may feel guilt, like the feelings you talked about, or shame, or just afraid of, "Well, how do I say it? What do I say?" And there may be some people that may even be dealing with that right now, that may have been diagnosed but have not said anything, and they may have internalized it and may just be walking around with this information and just battling this thing alone. Can you give those people advice right now, or one word of advice?
Sure. I think that it's really important to allow people. Obviously, this is a very personal journey, but you don't know yet from resting upon the support network that you have unless you do it. Faith, it absolutely does, but um, you will be some people will really step up and help you, and just you'll be even surprised people that do that that you wouldn't even expect. Like I had, know, friends of friends, or my friend's mother-in-law who sends me like things that you wouldn't even expect. You can actually emerge as heart, and and you don't know how your journey is actually going to possibly and potentially touch someone else's journey. Keep our journey real and authentic. People really can feel from it, and That's whether it's cancer or something else. You've gone through something traumatic. Chances are gone through something else traumatic in their life. So to be able to kind of gather and being it's so healing. But I think bring people into your life. You have to be careful, obviously, with whom you bring into that. Some people, they mean well, but they may not say. And there's one thing I want to mention also that I forgot to mention before. I remember one person, well-meaning person, who was saying like, oh, well, as if, like I had not prayed about it, and that's the reason why I got diagnosed. That was painful. That was painful, because it's like, then you begin to think, prayed more? Was there something else that I needed to do that I didn't do? So, but don't stop yourself from love and the support that your team, your community. It's something humbling, of course, but will give you the strength to keep on going, and especially your fans and your surrounding community. Let them in, and but a position of strength. It doesn't have to bring you down.
Oh my goodness. I felt that, Angela. Let them in. That's such a powerful statement that we probably don't do more enough. We don't do enough. Let them in. It is the act of vulnerability. It is the act of humbling yourself or just being in a humble place, and allowing those around you to support you, allowing others to be your support system, allowing others to strengthen you and to uplift you. And that is a vulnerable place to be in. It's emotionally vulnerable. It's mentally vulnerable. It's the letting people into that very sacred space, because it's fearful, and sometimes you don't know how to let people into that place where you're afraid. um, but you've been doing it, and you've been doing it so well. I'm wondering if you can give those that are community organizations, mental health experts, social workers that may be watching, word of advice, in terms of best practices that we can implement within organizations to better support parents, grandparents, and even in students that may be going through this.
I think, in first, right, I think that it's very important to dispel the myths that provide around the word cancer. And so I think informing people of what the facts is really helpful, and letting them know that there are options out there, like options to be able to help with this journey. But the thing is, all the medical options are, it's it's scary, right? So more, I think that it's important for you know, experts give questions to ask, because you know, chemo brain is things. There are things that you might be mid sentence and you're like, where am I going? And so you have to write things down. Ask your questions. Make sure you feel calm, and make sure that everyone feels support. So much strength that comes from support, and even make sure that people take care of their physical in this time, but also go for walks and appreciate life. If you just kind of lock yourself in your room, you can do that. Lock yourself in your room, communicate with anyone, but it's going to bring you into such a dark place. So I think keeping them connected, continue to keep connected with me, even if it seems like they're pushing you away. Let them know that you're there. That is crucial to this journey, and for those who are going to say you want to continue doing certain things that make about being part of this world, right? Like, what is one of the reasons besides work that I continue doing it through this time is because I love it, and it gives me a renewed sense of self and it makes me feel like I'm making a difference. So go out there and make a difference in things that you have.
That's amazing advice. I'm thinking of so many wonderful ways that we can even implement that within our own community organization, I raise, in ways that we could better raise awareness, support, and connect survivors to one another as a support group, and giving them opportunities to make a difference as they're going through their treatment. I love those things. Those are really just valuable points, and things that we have to implement and consider as a community, and those that are, whether you're in social work or in education or in social service, these are things that we must think about, plan for, and to consider, so that we can continue providing and being a support to those that need it the most. And we're a little over time here, but I did want to touch into at least one thing that you're up to, because I know you're up to something. If you want to just give us one little sneak peek of what's next into Angela Torres' life, we'd love to hear that.
Well, we have a big event actually coming up this Saturday. It's going to have, besides our regular pantry items that we have and meals, we're going to have things for kids. We're going to have a hot dog truck and cotton candy, popcorn, pretzels, and all sorts of things. We want to just continue to bring people together, and I'm also on the education, trying to create opportunities to inform parents on different financial seminar, um, teaching them how to become 501c3 so they can. And we had a grant writing seminar, and just elevating families. I think coming up soon on housing applications, how that works, credit repair. We have to really give the resources that they need to help elevate us all. And so, family wise, I'm just looking forward to of cancer behind me. I'm going to be starting radiation soon, but I a vacation in 2023. It's been a long job.
I love that. I love that. And you're up to so many great things. Everyone that's watching, you can learn more about Angela and her great initiatives that she's doing tomorrow. If you're in the Throgs Neck area, I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Saturday. I'm already in Friday. If you're in the Throgs Neck area, please check out the great event that Angela is speaking about. It's a community event, bringing communities together and lifting them up. It's a great time to volunteer, get involved, and get plugged in to the amazing work that she's doing. You can visit her website here, showing on the screen as Throgsneck Communities Alliance, communityalliance.org. Be a part of the great work. I can tell you that I've been connected to Angela for years, and she has been doing some amazing work changing the face of the Bronx. And I am proud to call her my sister and my friend. Angela, we are so grateful. We're grateful for you. We have learned so much. We've learned valuable lessons. You have taken us through this journey, just a snippet of the journey with you. We're excited to see all the things that are unfolding in your life through your work, and through your impact. And we want to bring you back. We're gonna bring you back next year. We're gonna have another talk. But we appreciate you so much, and we thank you for sharing this space with us. Thank you. And any last words you want to leave with those that are watching, please feel free to do so.
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I want to let everyone know that if you do go through this journey, it's emotions, but I want you to remember that you don't have to stay in any of those negative. And there's so much technology, and like I said, clinical trials and cancer is not what it was before. So you should be encouraged with that, and the support system, and allow them to come into your most vulnerable spaces and just hang on and hold on. This is not the end. This is just going to be a position of power for you, and you can still do amazing things.
Love that. Thank you so much, Angela. Those are words of encouragement for all those that are watching, especially those that are diagnosed with any type of cancer or any type of illness, really. Hold on, hang on. It's not the end. You're still empowered and you can still make a difference, even in what you're going through. And Angela is a prime testament and example of that. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you all for watching. Please, again, follow Angela or check out her work on throsnetcommunityalliance.org. Thank you all so much for being with us and sharing this space with us. Let's raise awareness together. Let's do better. We may have not approached this the right way, but now we know the better way. And let's take that better way and let's do something about it. Thank you all again for watching. We appreciate all of you for your support, and we'll see you again next week, Tuesday. Have a very safe weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.